Well, we just got over some grueling and annoying primaries to the kind of point where I'm almost sick to death of hearing about it because of all the awful infighting and rage and clickbaiting going on X. So I believe there's a lot of people out there who get all hung up on the primaries, get angry at the results, and don't understand why it's happening the way it is. So, what if I told you most of the problems with Congress could be fixed by changing one law in your state? No constitutional amendments, no state constitutional amendments, no federal omnibus bills, and your congressman can't do anything to stop it. What problems am I talking about? Well, for instance, ending senile congressmen being protected by the media and elected over and over and over again. It's funny when I was looking this one up, I couldn't remember his name to save my life for a second, and I just said Senator Turtle, and there he is. Yay. Another issue is this solution would significantly reduce the impact of big money donations from around the country. It would significantly reduce the impact of big money donations from foreign lobbyists. It would make it very hard for national parties to interfere with local party candidate selection in the states. It would be making it harder for the state establishment to game the system for their candidates, and also making it easier for challengers to unseat bad performing incumbents, forcing candidates to stick to the issues that matter and paying a price when they don't. The candidate with the best issues, not the most money or flashiest campaign, wins. So, how could this all be possible? Well, the answer is fairly simple it's caucuses instead of primaries. Primaries are not federal mandates, they are not part of any state constitution. In every state that primaries exist, they are prescribed only by law. A dedicated group of activists could easily start a movement in their state to get that repealed. Why does a caucus fix all the problems I just talked about? Well, here's how it works. Each party hosts their own caucus at their own expense. In lower population areas, the party members of that county meet at a designated location for the caucus. In higher population areas, the caucus site may be at a district, ward, or some other suitable subdivision. The people who show up at the caucus will be the one most willing to sit through a few hours of procedures in order to vote. You don't just get to walk in, vote, and leave. Low information voters won't come. Candidates who want to win the caucus will have to campaign in advance and will have to meet with party members or at venues that are set up to entice other caucus goers to meet and greet. Dumping huge amounts of money for 30-second ads on TV won't win a caucus. The low information voter isn't coming to this. Lobbyists, PACs, national party money, and foreign money won't help very much. The candidate that wins is the one who meets the most caucus voters and provides them with convincing arguments. Anyone with a car and a suit jacket can do that. If a candidate is senile, people will know if they show up. And if they don't show up, they're going to question why the candidate is refusing to show up in public. In caucus states, candidates that win meet with the activists. A person dedicated to voting in a caucus is going to be strongly tied to the candidate that they met in person at some county event. Advertising paid for by lobbyists and out of state millionaires will have little impact on this relationship. The same goes for foreign lobbying power, it will be ineffective. If the National Party has a preferred candidate, that candidate is still going to have to show up all over the state to make their own case for why they are the best candidate. A favorite establishment tactic when their candidate has a solid challenger is to flood the zone. They ask a bunch of people with name recognition and similar platforms to the challenger to run in the primary to dilute the vote. Countering this via primary legacy media advertising to low information voters is impossible. They don't understand what's going on. A challenger who can explain this at county meetings can easily overcome the establishment flood the zone tactic. To win to win the caucus, the incumbent needs to show up. In most, if not all, the counties, they will have to address the people who vote for them and try to explain why they failed to fulfill campaign promises and why they voted for swamp sludge. Those that can't explain it to people are going to get end rounded by their challenger. Low information primary voters are happy with 30-second commercials that say little buzzwords: conservative, low taxes. Caucus candidates will have to define what they mean. They can't just say lower taxes and less regulation. Someone who's right in their face is going to say, what do you mean by that? What taxes are you getting rid of? What regulations are you getting rid of? This would also be the closest thing to repealing the 17th Amendment, and you can do it without having to go through the amendment process. This is an ideal grassroots campaign for any group. It's just a matter of convincing enough legislators to get on board, and the Congress has nothing to say about it. Now, the parties will be against this. They don't want to pay for caucuses, and they don't want to have their control diluted by diversifying power down to the county level. The key thing is, you need to understand the people who scream, primary him, expecting billionaires to come in on their side to win little races, don't understand how it works. Primaries cannot be fixed because they are working exactly as they are intended to. All right, I would just basically threw this out because I'm getting tired of listening to people online going on and on about the primaries, so I just wanted to throw my plug in so I'd have a video to throw back as a response rather than typing the same thing all over again. Tell me what you think. Are you in a primary or a caucus state? Do primaries sound appealing to you? Uh, do caucuses sound appealing to you? And if they do, see if maybe it's time for a little grassroots action. See if you can get your local party to jump on board. All right, smash the like button. If the YouTube algorithm's brought you here and you're not a regular subscriber, please consider subscribing. Check out my other titles. I get into a lot of stuff. And if you know someone who might find this interesting, share it with them. Thank you for spending time with me this evening. Hope to see you again in a future video.